Good evening. Welcome back to Where the Owls Sleep. I am your host, Mitch. No Stocky this week, but I have got another 2 hours with me, so we'll get straight into it. We have John and Samir. How's it going, boys? You all good?
Go on, John.
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm all right, mate. Feel like I've just come off like a 2 hour game break, and like too much easing my way back in. It's like,
there's been lightning delays in John's YouTube career.
yeah, just in my sleep pattern and everything, mate. It's just a lot.
Yeah, mate, I get that. I get that. I'm in a bit similar. I'm trying to get back into my usual routine of sleeping after a couple of mad weeks at work. So I totally get that. How you going, Samir? You good?
Yes, all good, all good. We missed last week, which was heartbreaking for me, but yeah, back again. Keeping my
Hey.
Sundays free from now on.
It's always a miss when neither of you are here, to be
Yeah.
fair, boys. But here we go. Both of you missed last week, which was the first week of the new imagery,
Yeah.
shall we call it?
Oh yeah, I was heartbroken about that,
Which,
man.
by the way, credit Mitch. These look amazing.
Yeah,
Like genuinely, I know we've been talking about it in the group, but like honestly, they look incredible.
yeah.
Cheers. Much appreciated, boys. While I'm in my creative bag, I'm gonna keep rolling out as much as I can and see what we
Yeah.
can put together. So
Hmm.
much apprecited. But we'll get into it. First off, we're gonna talk transfers. And as Samir wasn't here for last week's roundup, we are gonna start with
Ooh.
Arsenal. So we have 9 players in the picture here.
Mm.
The five on the left hand side are heavy links, 3 of which are apparently due to be completed very soon. 2 we've been hearing about for a very long time is Sesko and Gokares. So, Samir, how are you feeling about the start of your window so far? Are you a little bit worried there's no actual signings fully complete, or are you still quite calm about things?
No, I'm calm. I'm calm. I think like the three on the left you showed are pretty much completed. It's just not been announced. Arsenal, when it comes to announcements and stuff, we take our time with that. It's ridiculous. Like I watch other clubs and they have their medical, they have all that. It's pretty much done in the same day. Like in terms of like announcements and stuff. Us would have a medical and we won't announce the player for about a month. Like we do some nonsense. Like you hear from like David Oystein, oh yeah, this player's having a medical, and then we take flipping, like I said, a month to flipping announce it. But yeah, I think the three on the left are pretty much done. I like how like fast we're moving
Yeah.
because like I always used to say like with Arsenal we always move like we've won the Premier League. Like we move so slow in the transfer market, like we've won trophies and stuff. It's like ridiculous. Like I want my team to move quick in the transfers, get all that done before preseason, get all the players in, not all of them, but at least most of them you want to work with in preseason. And so I like the way Arsenal are moving right now in terms of like the speed of it.
Decent.
Yeah,
I think it
Decent to
helps
be.
because your main rivals have also been sort of doing the same thing, right? Because
yeah,
Liverpool have had a rapid start.
exactly what I
City
mean.
have obviously like they've done a madness already. It's like you can't really get caught lagging in that sense. So it's quite good that you're like keeping pace.
Exactly what I mean. So like I was saying just a second ago, it's like with like you're watching Liverpool who are Premier League champions like going crazy in the transfer market, and that's what I mean by Arsenal moving slow. Like they're the ones who won the Premier League. It makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, this season's a lot different. I like the pace of it. I like who we're linked with and stuff, which is a good sign. We're gonna get onto that. You want me to talk about the two strikers?
Yeah, yeah. Talk about it. Which one would you prefer out of Sesko and Gokares?
So like last night, I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law, and I feel like Arsenal are in like in the middle of things, like because he's a City fan. He was talking about like when they had a decision between Harry Kane and Haaland, they decided to choose Haaland, and I think they looked at it in terms of like age. Like Haaland was what 20 years old, but you've got Harry Kane. Yes, he's established and stuff like that, but he's like what 25, 26 at the time. So I think like we're in a similar situation. It's like we're trying to look at, all right, cool. We get Jokeris now, like he could last 3 years, or you could get Sesko, who's 21. and you got time to work with him, and he could do a job in the first few seasons, but you've got like that longevity with him. So I just look at us and the price as well, and the price
Yeah,
as well. I look at the price. I think both teams are saying, "Listen, this is our best asset. We want this much for him. It's either this or nothing," which is understandable. And Arsenal are just looking at like who do we actually think will be worth what we spend the money on?
yeah. So
Yeah,
which one out of the two would you go for? Because I
I think
personally don't feel that Sesko is an Arsenal a perfect fit. Big up Preach in the chat, by the way. Um, I don't feel that Sesko is a perfect fit for what you need.
yeah, yeah. I remember you saying that before, and you're right with that one. I think yeah, I've always said I wanted Gyökeres because he just looks like a striker who just wants to score and score and score and like I understand this in the Portuguese league, but I think he would bring that over into the Premier League and I've seen him in Champions League as well. He's just constantly running and stuff, and that's what we're missing in
Mm,
terms of like getting runs in behind and stuff like that. Like for someone like Odegaard, he would love a Gyökeres to obviously play alongside. Yeah, definitely Gyökeres.
fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough. What do you feel about the links, the new links that seem to be of coming out about the four that we've got on the left here? So we've got João Neves,
yeah.
then we've got João Hato, we've got Christian Mosquera, and we've also got Rodrigo. Do you know
The
much
Joao
about them?
Joao Neves, I've not really heard. I just don't see that ever happening. You can imagine they're going to be asking for about 200 million for him because he's quality. Uh, the centre back from Valencia, I've never seen him ever play. Like we don't really see Valencia play, but I've heard some good things about him. Um, Rodrigo, I've always said, yeah, please, I'll take him in an instant. And for how much Real Madrid are basically asking, it's not a lot. Like
No.
they're asking for like 67, I think 70 mil or some shit like that. And that's not a lot. Like for someone who's 24,
Mm.
and I reckon if he was to play on the left for Real Madrid, he could do a job. So, like obviously because he's playing on the right now, and it's not like it's not the best position for him. He's obviously a left winger. So to get someone like him will be a flipping massive boost and over Martinelli, I'd say. Like put Martinelli on the bench. Um, well, what's his name? Hato?
Hato, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
left back from Ajax.
Yeah, I've heard big things about him, but he's such an Arteta signing. Like he's a centre back. I know he's a left back, but can play centre back
Mm.
or one of them.
But
Like
I don't get why you need another one of them though. It's a bit
exactly,
confusing.
it's such an Arteta thing. I don't know what it is. We have like 10 of them already in the squad, but I think we're just looking at his age and the future. I've heard like big things about him. So why not bring him in and just stack the squad?
Yeah,
Like
no. He was
I
talking about that a few weeks ago about squad stacking like other teams do, where
yeah,
you have never really done that much. You've had a thin squad, and then the drop offs have all been a bit too much. So
exactly.
yeah, I kind of get it from that point of view. I
Yeah.
know we've already kind of brushed over it, but Christian Norgard it was a weird one, and it came out of
Uh,
the blue for me. How are you feeling about that?
You know what? I don't know. That was like as soon as we heard Partey signing a new contract, we was like, all right, cool, get him in. So I don't know. I reckon we've been looking at him for a while,
Hmm.
and we were just waiting on what Partey was gonna do. So we pretty much, I feel like we've pretty much offered him what we've offered. Like I'm guessing what we offered Partey. We've told Partey, listen, you're gonna have to cut your wages down, and you're not guaranteed a start. So parties looked at that and think, you know what, like I've got to do what's best for my career and move. Norgard's probably heard that and thought, I don't care, this is Arsenal. I'll go there. And like looking at our injury list, he'll probably get a few games as well. So I think I don't think that's a bad signing to be fair. I think he's all right to have on the bench as well. It's not
Yeah,
like it's not screaming, oh, this is the worst signing of the transfer market.
yeah,
Do you think
it's a
it's
good
like a
signing.
temporary stop?
Go on, John. My bad.
I was just gonna say, do you think it's more of a temporary stopgap just to fill a squad place as opposed to
Yes.
like coming in as yeah?
Yeah, because at the moment now, so including Norgard, we've got four. Is it four? Four centre mids. Wait, Rice. Yeah, four centre mids. And I think last season, well, including, oh yeah, we did have four in with Jorginho. But like, I don't know. I think these lot are a bit younger, and yeah, Norgard's experience. I think like everyone looks at his age and says that he's sees that he's 31. Like it's crazy how we look at the ages nowadays. Like we look at like 29 and we call that old. Like 31 is not old. Like look at Salah.
It's not for certain positions. Like you reference Salah, but as a goal scoring wide man, wide attacker, as you would call Salah,
Yeah, yeah,
like his fall off due to his age isn't. He can still score goals.
yeah,
I would say in central midfield, unless you're like a dictating six, that's a little bit like Busquets
mm,
or like Jorginho was,
yeah,
then your age doesn't matter. Where I feel Norgard is, he uses his athleticism quite a lot.
yeah.
It's
He's
one of
really
his
good.
attributes. So
Yeah,
that is something that with age, it can be a problem. And centre midfielders don't ever seem to be like right at the top level if they rely on their ability to get about the pitch past the age of about 32, 33. So I get it with him.
yeah.
If he was a goalie or a centre back, maybe not. But as a centre midfielder that relies on getting around the pitch, I feel that his age is a bit of a factor in this.
Yeah, but I feel like with obviously with Brentford is a whole different team to Arsenal. They rely on having to run around the pitch and stuff like that. We like to keep the ball for how long time on a pitch. So yeah, I don't think he would have to do as much running as he's had to do at Brentford. All he has to do is keep the ball and defend pretty
Yeah.
much.
So
That's
do
what
you reckon you're signing him as a more of a six than an eight then?
yeah, a backup
Okay.
six because I
Okay.
think Zuma Mendy is going to start. So yeah, a backup six.
No,
Yeah,
that's fair enough. I would say it's a good signing. It's a good base signing, but you have
yeah,
to get your attacking side sorted out.
yeah.
If you don't sign a left winger or a striker or both, then these signings are pretty pointless. You haven't moved anywhere. I don't feel. I feel
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Zubimendi is a little bit like a younger version of Jorginho-ish. Norgard
mm,
again, he fills a similar kind of spot. Kepa's a backup goalie. If you don't do what you need to do up the front end of the pitch, then I don't feel like you've moved forward too much.
yeah.
It's an interesting observation from Preach here, saying that where Arteta was part of the City team that won things without a striker, maybe he sees that you don't actually need a proper number nine.
Nah, but like I said, I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law last night, and I just feel like he is desperate for a striker,
Hmm.
and he says it like in press conferences and stuff like that. And I've read today that he like wants a striker before we come back for preseason or have our first preseason game in Saturday on is it July 19th.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's only about 2 weeks. So all the
yeah,
first games are rolling around about 2 weeks ago. We play
exactly.
you pretty early on in preseason as well. I think
Yeah, that's weird, isn't
out
it?
in like Singapore or somewhere like that.
Yeah, no, yeah. So
So yeah,
I think he desperately wants a striker.
I
Yeah,
feel that if you get like the six we've got on the right of this picture, if you get a combination of three of them,
yeah,
you're getting into sort of scary, the right combination of three of them, should I say? You're getting into
mm,
scary territory. Like I look at Liverpool and I look at Man City, and where we finished last season, I was like Newcastle need two, three, maybe four
mm,
to try and grab onto the coattails.
yeah,
Now we need two, three, or four just to stay where we were
yeah,
at the end of last season. That gap doesn't even close now. They've just gone to another echelon. Both of
yeah.
them teams are like scary levels of good now for me.
So quick.
And yeah, it's going to take anybody. I think even you need two, three, or four like top level players
Yeah,
to not get cut astray and get left battling out with the rest of us.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And like even the scary thing for me is even with these players, is it enough? Because I still look at City probably stronger than us. Liverpool, well, obviously better than us last season and improved a lot. So it's that still it'll be a crazy battle because I would want signings that will take us above the two,
Yeah,
above Liverpool and City. But I don't reckon this will take us. I think it will help us to compete, but it's not obviously going to take us above City and Liverpool.
yeah. I would say the only thing that levels it out a bit is I'm not positive on this. I might be wrong, but from what the signings they've made, I can see both Liverpool and City playing a different system than they have done over the
Yeah,
last few years.
yeah,
Like City most definitely are going to go Like their base formation will be 4-2-3-1.
Mm,
Liverpool look like they're doing something similar-ish, and I know
yeah,
Slot
yeah,
played quite a lot of. I'm not going to say Klopp's system, but a little bit like Klopp's system, and not a full slot system last season as well.
yeah.
So them transferring into new systems could potentially mean the gap doesn't go as big straight away. But if it all clicks early on, it's a bit of a problem. And the problem is Man City have had the World Club Cup
To work on it, innit? Yeah,
to have a little bit of a test.
yeah. That's the thing, innit? But like I said, they do that though, but then they go on a 2 week break or something like that. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how it's gonna
Could
work.
be interested. Both of the teams that are in it will be interesting to see how they get on come
Yeah,
February.
I reckon also that there'll be a old school way of overlaps coming back from both teams.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
obviously Ping Pong, like we said, loves the overlap. Gerakes on the left loves an overlap. O'Naughty loves the overlap. So I think there's going
yeah.
to be a lot of
City sniffing around Livramento.
yeah,
It
yeah,
smacks of them changing to
changing everything.
wingers cutting in,
Yeah,
fullbacks flying on, and they'll have a
exactly.
little box base at the back. So their two centre backs will hold, their two on the low pivot in midfield will hold, and it will just be a base block four while everybody else goes for it.
Yeah, it's
Be
scary.
interesting to see, though. To be fair,
It's scary, man.
scary if it clicks.
Yeah,
Very scary if it
it's
clicks.
flipping over.
I know
uh,
we've already kind of touched on it.
yeah, yeah.
Thomas Partey, how do you feel about him leaving the club?
Um, I really wanted him to stay because I wanted him to be like because you need to keep the quality in it. You're adding quality, but you want to keep the quality.
Yeah,
You don't want to have quality leave and then bring another quality player. You want two quality players. So with him, I I wanted him to stay because obviously we need that quality going into like Champions Leagues and stuff like that. And having him on the bench would have been like glorious. So obviously he's looked at it and think, like I said, he's looked at it and he's thought, nah, I do not want to be on the bench. Like I'm on 300K a week. I'm a big player. Like I don't care who you're bringing in. I'm not going on the bench. But a quality player, man. Honestly, I
yeah,
think we missed him in that PSG second leg.
massively.
Oh no, wait,
yeah.
first leg. Sorry, first leg. In that first leg, and throughout the season, this was the first time I think he went a whole season without getting injured, and we just lost it. Like, can you imagine? With the last 3 seasons we've had him, he's not played. He's not had a full season. He's in and out, and then now we've had him for a full season. He decides to leave. So what more can we do about it? Like, if you don't want to be in a
Yeah.
person, that's fair.
It's one of those things, though. But even you saying that he could be on the bench, 350 grand on the bench doesn't work for anybody. I don't think there's any club in the league that can afford to have £350 a week, £350,000 a week sat on the
Mm.
bench.
Yeah, I,
So
I think I reckon City probably do. No,
nah, no one's got that leeway to have that much money sat on the bench
Mm.
for like tactical reasons.
Yeah,
Like if they're coming back from an injury, yeah. If they've got problems and they need to be on the bench for a little while, yeah. But not to be a second choice in your position on that
yeah,
amount of money.
for
That's
that much
just
money. Yeah,
crazy.
it's true. It is true.
That is just bonkers.
Yeah. And I imagine they probably said take a pay cut as well. So,
Yeah.
like, okay, they've looked at his age, 31. Like it's not old, but like they've looked at that and said, "Listen, take a pay cut."
Mm.
Mm.
The only other I saw a slight link to you to this guy. I think it might be something to do with if Sesko and Gokeres don't come off. Also linked to Chelsea, which is weird because they just stockpile players, and Liverpool,
Yeah,
which would just enhance how bonkers they look going forward so far. Have you seen much of Hugo Ekitike?
no. I'll be honest. The only time I saw him was against Tottenham,
Yeah,
Tottenham home and away in Europa League. And I said it before, and like when I first saw him, I just thought my first thought was Gakpo. Like this guy looks exactly like the same build, same almost the same height, probably just like the way they dribble and stuff. It reminded me of Gakpo.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he's third on my list of choices. Like he's my third choice. I'd rather Gyökeres Sesko than him. But like I've not really seen a lot of him. But I hear, like I said, I hear good things, and a lot of clubs are linked with him,
yeah.
which is a good sign, I'd say. And I don't think Frankfurt will ask for crazy money. To be fair, like
I
it
think they
won't.
will. I think you're looking 70, 80 million from Frankfurt, mate, to be honest.
Mm, how
We
much is
looked at him before we signed Isaac, and he turned us down and went to PSG, which is why we signed Isaac. I watched a lot of him at that point, and while he
mm,
was at PSG,
yeah,
I think his ceiling's ridiculously high. And this last season at Frankfurt, he's really started to get closer and closer to that ceiling. I think there's a special talent in there.
yeah,
Be
Is he
interesting.
like a sort of like a through the middle? Because to me, when I saw him against Spurs, like he looked like he'd be the type that's going to come in at like, well, go and stretch a team and might end up playing more of like a kind of Martinelli role. But I don't know whether I'm misreading
no,
that or
no. That's what I mean by it. Almost reminds me of Gakpo because he kind of
yeah.
similar like that.
I think he's one of them that has come up through the school of watching Thierry Henry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
that.
he's a through the
Yeah,
middle striker, but
yeah,
prefers to drift to the left.
yeah,
Can
He
sort of
just
interchange if he needs to.
yeah,
Yes, he isn't. It's a bit like Isak. Like you see a lot of them traits in Isak. He likes to drift wide a certain
yeah,
side in games, but he wouldn't want to start out wide. He wants to be through the middle as a nine with the option of drifting out there and one of the wide men then filling the space that he's left. That's what he does very well. He's like a tall, wiry, really strong, got decent feet. Although he's a bit Salah wide when he's dribbling. It looks a bit odd,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he knows what he's doing. It's effective, and he beats
Obvious, yeah,
players with it. And as much as it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, he clearly knows what he's doing because he does it time and time again.
yeah. He does look like he's got
Yeah.
that confidence
Oh
about him.
yeah, yeah. He's definitely got that borderline arrogance around him.
Mm,
So yeah, I reckon if someone picks him up and he keeps going through the gears, in a few years he's going to be a massive problem to whatever league
yeah.
he's in
But
and across Europe.
why has no one like jumped on it though? Like no
It's just the
one.
price tag. There's still a little bit of an unknown, and I think Frankfurt won 70 to 80 million pound. But you've got
Mm,
Liverpool sniffing around, Arsenal are now sniffing around, Chelsea, although they sniff around everybody. I
it's-
believe we're still in play. I'm hoping that. Well, now we've seen that João Pedro looks like he's going Chelsea. I'm hoping we throw a bag of money at Frankfurt for him, to be honest,
mm,
because
what goes-
he fits that bill pretty well.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what happens. We've touched on Chelsea briefly. I was just going to go on about how they just seem to stockpile players. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. They
Like,
just go for anyone. Like honestly, like what have you done to say, oh, you know what, I want Joao Pedro? Like what's going on? Like they
Sold
look.
hotels to themselves is the honest answer, but you know that's
yeah,
kind of it. That's why they can.
Yeah. No, like, not
Um,
even like the question of what like if they can or not. It's just like I don't see it. Like, what have you seen to say like this guy will fit in our team? Like, I don't see Joao Pedro in Chelsea. Like, I don't
I
know where.
genuinely don't. I'm with you. I don't know where he plays because they've obviously just signed Liam Delap.
Yeah.
Neto looks like he's becoming the player he was at Wolves again. Now he's back to fitness.
Mm.
What is João Pedro going to play wide left?
You
And then
can't.
Palmer
possibly
in the
like
10?
I suppose where like Sancho's gone now, like does he kind of like drift in? I mean, it's not really the same. It's what I mean. It seems like a bit of a square peg round hole if that's the fit, you know. Like
Mm-hmm.
But they signed that guy from Dortmund to play on the
Oh
left.
yeah, and they
Gittins, yeah.
Gittins is on the left
Yeah,
as well. They've got the young Brazilian lad coming in who can play
yeah,
both sides. Like,
exactly.
how many attacking players do they need?
Exactly. I get stacking your squad, but this is just like it's an overload at the moment now. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is going beyond. Like I know they've always stacked players and then they
Yeah,
sell them on and they get money. This is going beyond that because they're
yeah.
saying signing players that look to be first team ready.
Mm,
They're not signing 17, 18-year-olds for 10,
yeah,
15 million pound that they then could
exactly. Right.
flip and sell them for 30.
Yeah,
They're signing like players that look like they're ready to play in the Premier League.
exactly. They're not going to be happy to be on the bench.
It's just
Yeah.
confusing. I think they're going to end up in a bit of a situation. It's an odd one. I don't know how they're not going to end up in a situation,
But then
but
again, I also see it as in they're probably going to want to sell someone like Nicholas Jackson or Madueke. Like I could see one of them two or both of them possibly getting sold.
I see them at the Wakey one, and I can see them potentially wanting to sell Jackson, but they're going to want massive money for
Yeah,
both.
exactly.
Like they're talking 50, 60 mil for Madueke. If someone pays that, I'll be surprised.
I
I,
reckon.
I did see a rumor where Arsenal were linked with him.
Oh yeah,
By the
don't
way,
let's not talk about that. let's not.
yeah, it's like
We're not speaking to existence, please. I swear to you, like I said, Mitch, we spoke about this before. Every time I cuss someone so bad, they end up on my team, and
Yeah.
both of them this season, I've been after them. I mean,
Hey,
I'm saying, nah,
Madueke is not the guy. We've been heavily linked with him over the last 18 months or so.
I can see that.
And all of his dribbling is fantastic. He's like the reverse Jacob Murphy.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
does all of the good footballing stuff to get into good positions, and he can beat players, and he's quite good with ball retention. But he's rubbish when he comes to shooting and crossing the
yeah.
ball. Whereas Jacob Murphy, you just want to shoot and cross the ball.
Mm. How many
And
assists did he get? He got like flipping 12 assists this season,
I
huh?
think it
Jacob?
was 12 assists, 7
Yeah,
goals, something like that. Maybe even
yeah.
more, maybe more. Yeah,
His crosses were lethal. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
His ball
don't know.
striking's class on both feet, Jacob
Mm.
Murphy. I can't fault him for that at all. I just feel we need to raise the footballing ceiling
Yeah,
on the left hand side.
yeah.
I was going to roll into Newcastle talk, but there's not an awful lot to talk about. James Trafford we spoke about it numerous times, and it looks like it's pretty much done now. Just agreeing the terms with Burnley. Pedro, we've already spoke about. The only other one we've been seriously linked to is I can't even think of his name now. Who's the left? Oh, Elanga, who
Oh yeah,
Forest have turned
yeah.
down an offer from us. I hope we wander away and look for someone else because it was apparently 50 mil. So paying more than 50 mil for Elanga's mad. But
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see. I have faith in our board. We've got no transfers wrong since the takeover. So
What about Jadon Sancho?
no, thank you.
Why not, man? Why not?
Our whole squad is all about buying into what the team is doing and work rate
Okay,
and
yeah, yeah.
making sure we're all pulling in the same direction. Jadon Sancho doesn't come
Mm.
across as a personality that would work in that. I think
Yeah.
it would be very quickly that one of either Jamal Lascelles, Dan Burn, or Joe Linton punch him in the face for not working hard enough. And that's not even like
It's true.
that's not even joking about. I
Yeah,
genuinely feel that one of them would punch him in the face.
yeah.
dare I ask Tyler Diblin because that was one that has been like voiced a lot during the season.
I would take Tyler Diblin. I genuinely would.
Even I would.
The only problem I have with Tyler Diblin is it's a little bit too much of a future prospect
Yes.
transfer for where we are right now.
Yeah, you want the finished article almost.
Yeah, we need someone on that right hand side to come in and be good now
Yeah,
and be like better than Jacob Murphy levels now and produce to a very decent level.
yeah.
And I don't really know Tyler Diblin's going to be that. He might. He's had a season in the Premier League now, but I feel like he needs a season.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to have a season in the Championship for him.
I don't know.
I feel very conflicted with that because I think, to be honest, like he, you say he had a season. I genuinely believe, like from the end of January, he just completely down tools.
Yeah, because
And
you start
like
thinking about it.
the way he played up until the end of January, from the way that he played from the first ball that was kicked in February, two totally different players. It's
Yeah,
really hard to get a gauge on where he's at in terms of. Like, I don't with talent. I don't doubt it. In terms of like you said, I personally don't think he's ready to go into like a Newcastle or any club of that echelon that he's being linked with, and then suddenly be like a starting main man. Like he'd be going in as a prospect at whatever level. But he's got Tottenham written all over it, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
it's like that'll be the Daniel Levy. Like we're going to chuck a bit of money at something reasonably exciting that's not going to cost me too much at the end of the window.
yeah.
Um, I don't know.
I reckon he with him like you said around say January. I reckon he's probably just turned around and thought to himself he's better than this
mm,
because
He was
obviously
playing like a guy that had been told don't get injured.
don't get
He honestly did not take a player on for 4 months, and it
mm,
was just like he'd get the ball, he'd face up to a player, he'd turn inside and pass 5 yards, and that was not the player we'd seen up until that point.
yeah,
mm,
There was there's a lot of adjectives you could have used to describe him, like towards the end of the season, exciting and sort of blistering weren't exactly two of them.
yeah
So
yeah. And that's sort of. Maybe that's what's put a few clubs off because in December, January, people were talking about paying 50, 60 million pound for him.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be, well, I haven't heard loads, although I did have a look at your rumours, both going in and coming out at Southampton, to be honest, because
It's very quiet on both ends at the minute.
well, it seems to be very extremely quiet on the coming in, but going out, you've got Tyler Diblin's been linked with about 6 clubs in the last couple of weeks. The only other ones are Carl Walker-Peters, but he's on a free, so it's not
He's
really.
gone anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. Is there talk of, do you know where he's actually going? Because I thought it was going to be pretty stonewall for Tottenham, because isn't he best friends with the striker, Solanke? Yeah.
It could be. I mean, it's very funny because like there was one Saints outlet like on Twitter that was very at one point in about mid-April that they started like hitting these very heavy reports of he's gone up to Liverpool and he's done a pre-contract with Liverpool and all of that. That's obviously turned out to be utter nonsense. Um, I've not heard him be linked. I heard him linked to Galatasaray at the end of the January window because they were potentially going to sling us a bit of money to get him early.
Okay.
But otherwise, I mean, going back a year because that's what it would be now. It's like actually, no, it'd be going back 2 years when we were relegated the first time round. Fulham, he was being linked with Villa, which again, bear in mind this is 2 years back, so there's nothing tangible at the moment. I think he'll have options. I'm sure I'm fairly confident he'd still be in the Premier League come August. But
yeah, if we lost Trippier, I would take him 100%. I'd have him at Newcastle because he can do both left and right back.
yeah,
But the problem is he's going to want to play, and he's not going to play over Livramento or Lewis Hall. So
that's it. He's better off waiting for like something in that bracket beneath, really, like in terms of the starting place, anyway.
He's good.
yeah, because from what I can see, he's been linked to Tottenham, Everton, Wolves.
Yeah, all of which makes sense.
Definitely Everton. If I was Everton, I'd be all over that. I don't know who their right back is right now, but yeah, you would have to be all over that because
their right backs are they're like geriatric, aren't they? It's Ashley Young, who's not young, and Seamus Coleman.
Coleman. Young.
So yeah,
no, I mean Everton seems the fit, which maybe if he was travelling up to Liverpool, maybe there's something in that.
Oh yeah.
It may just they just got the wrong club, you know. Like, it could just be that. But I think with us at the moment, generally, it's all going to be very quiet. I think that's partially. I think when you get relegated anyway, there's always I don't know how much planning you can do as a manager going into a team that's just been relegated, particularly when there's potential assets that are going to go.
Yeah.
He probably has no idea who he's still going to have come like the end of August. It's one of the few things I actually agreed with Russell Martin about when I saw his interview at Lineker. And he was talking about how actually what made his pre-season the first time round so hard was that you genuinely didn't have a like. I mean, I remember going to Hillsborough and James Ward-Prowse starting, you know, and obviously we were never going to keep him, but you genuinely don't have a real shake of what your squad is going to look like until September, really.
Yeah,
and I think it's one thing. I probably don't think we've got as much money to chuck about as we'd think, but it's one thing about who we're going to keep. If we do lose players, we've then got to go and replace. So it's pretty hard to identify like set targets unless you absolutely know for certain that there's an area you're definitely going to be short in. But
yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see a bit of an exorcism of the whole squad, but unfortunately, when you've had a season like we've had, I think there's a lot of those players that won't get touched with a barge pole.
There's a couple of good ones in there. I quite like the look of Sulemana. I've said for a while that Matty. Sorry, go on. He's been linked with who? Atlanta.
Yeah, he's gone.
Which I think is great. Yeah, I actually think he'd be perfect in that sort of environment.
Nice.
Like Atalanta, sort of like the European school football playground football sort of. You score 5, we score 6. Suleiman, I think, has got all the tools. Matty Fernandez, like that's another. Don't speak it into existence because if we could keep him,
that was the one I was going to mention. I would love him as part of a rotation in our midfield. I think he's going to be quality in a few years.
He's superb. I mean, he was the only outfield player that I could genuinely say could have held his head up high for that whole season. And I think no Saints fan had anything negative to say about that guy throughout the season. I think Ramsdale will obviously go. Like your tangible assets that should probably go. Ramsdale, you'd think. Dibbling, you've got to think if you're going to try and fleece a couple of clubs and make a few quid off him, he would be a sensible one to get rid. Sulemana, like you say, I'm gutted about that because I'd love to keep him in the Championship. I mean, I think he is far too good for that level. And you might get rid of like a Bednarek or someone just to try and get some like bigger wages off the bill.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world.
Mm.
Yeah, but I don't think compared to when we went down a couple of years ago, I don't think the sellable assets are as there's not as many sellable assets. I think it's more like can we get a wedge for Dibbling and then sort of see what the rest says.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One player I kind of want both of your opinions on is is this guy,
Oh.
McAtee.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of the Euro under 21s Euros, and I've now convinced myself that I would love Newcastle to sign this kid.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
He's so good. He reminds me of Foden a little bit, but just plays a bit deeper, and he's got a little bit more bite about him and a little bit more spite when he's tackling. I would love us to sign McAtee. I think, even in the games where I think there was a game just we came on here, Samir, and I said that I thought he'd played really well, and you was a bit confused.
I was confused. Yeah,
and he wasn't like excellent, but you could see every time he gets the ball, like the game sort of slows down around him. And I love players like that. Lewis Miley's got that about him, and that's why I love Lewis Miley so much. But I'd just love to hear your thoughts on him because I think he's going to be exceptional.
Plays with his head up, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like he's always aware of what different options are available to him. I thought he was great. I thought he was excellent last night. I've told you guys in the group, I've sort of taken a bit of a sabbatical the last few weeks. Like up until last night, the last actual game I watched in full was that atrocity of England and Andorra. So I'm Club World Cup wise and under 21s, I've done, and it's more just been to do with work on my end. Has been a killer at the moment, but yeah. So I've not really seen too much football, but what I saw last night, I was very, very impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's quite a few in that team that I'm annoyed that Elliot Anderson looks so good. It frustrates the hell out of me.
Yeah, that got hurt. That was got hurt. He's a player.
Yeah,
He's a player.
Stansfield. I think Stansfield is it hasn't done much to sort of settle my worries that I think Birmingham are going to be a bit of a problem this season.
I actually think he's been a bit of a letdown.
In the tournament,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, last night I thought he played quite well, but
he did a few nice bits last night. But as a tournament as a whole, I feel that he's just looked like a bit of a tryhard who's a little bit out of his league.
I felt like last night I was watching him and I was like, if you can get a couple of decent runners off him, he could be a bit of a problem. I don't know, that's what I was seeing yesterday. But
yeah.
I mean, obviously you've watched more of the tournament.
He's possibly the only one in that squad to play at a level of League One, though. Don't you think? I think everyone's possibly Premier League and Championship. I'd say, apart from the keeper, I'm hearing who was on loan at Bolton. I was going to Bolton.
There was a right back that was on loan that he's playing at Genoa at the moment, at Norbert Coffey or something like that.
Yeah, that's Serie A, so that's
something like
highest.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone as low as a League One.
No, there won't be anybody anywhere near as low as League One.
Yeah, so he's possibly the only one to play in that squad.
In fairness, Stansfield was one of those that played in League One, but realistically, that was another sort of Wrexham-esque. We're going to come and get someone from the leagues above. He was one of them ones.
They signed him for big money as well, so and he got him straight back up. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, everybody else is either in a top league or in the Champo by the looks of things. So you've got, obviously, Stansfield was Birmingham. Then you've got Arsenal, Borough, Marseille. Yeah. I think the closest thing to it, weird enough as it is to say, is QPR. But he didn't really play.
Ronnie Edwards.
Ronnie Edwards plays for QPR. Hayden Hackney's at Middlesbrough, and then you've got Genoa and Toulouse. I'm not sure if Toulouse is still in the top league. But
Ronnie Edwards is actually ours, but he was on loan at QPR the back end of last season.
Okay.
Juric came, but Martin never really used him, and then Juric came in and didn't fancy it. and apparently he was absolutely mustard at QPR the back end of last year. So it'd
Oh,
be
okay.
he probably will end up getting a run with us this season. So
Yeah,
Nice.
playing back in the championship again, isn't it? So it makes sense to keep him.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. While we're talking about the under 21s, we might as well roll on to them being twice back to back European champions,
Mm,
which is a ridiculous achievement, just not for the players, but for Carsley as well.
yeah.
Because it's crazy to think that he got overlooked as England manager after that one game, and he's now gone and won another competition.
Mm,
With which, to be fair to him, is actually a different set of players as well. I think only three players from this squad were even part of the last squad.
well, plus the breakup in continuity of him being sort of like in and out, sort of like in terms of like the national, like the main international job and that. So
Yeah,
it's
because that
credit
would have
to
only
him,
been
man. Like,
what? That would have only been what, 6 months ago that he was
yeah, and like three games,
interim
yeah,
England manager.
three games, I think as well, maybe.
yeah. What was it like September, October, wasn't it?
It,
Like maybe November as well.
yeah, it must have been the back end of last year, like them
Yeah.
end of year international breaks that you have. It
Mm,
must have been them ones that he took control of. So to come back from that with that little bit
So
of
he's really he's only had one international break before like getting a squad together, really. So
Mm,
like, that's
yeah,
some work. Like,
he's got some excellent players in that team, though. To be fair,
that's what. I was gonna say as well. Like, I don't think I even got a chance to say it before the even competition even started. I just thought they have to win because of that squad that they
but
have. Fair enough to France. France have a big squad, but I just thought, yeah, like they have to win. I was so confident that they were going to win. I think we all were confident that they were going to win. I thought the squad wise, I'm not even talking about age. I'm just saying like the ability and like the names there, we should have won easily.
yeah.
Yes.
The biggest thing that I think they need praise for is they got beat quite comfortably by Germany in the last group game,
Yeah, yeah,
and Germany made 11 changes for that last group game. So they basically played a B team, and England still went quite strong, and
mm,
they got beat comfortably. So to turn that around and perform how they did last night is exceptional. I know Germany hit the bar twice and stuff like that, but you can't really come away and say England didn't deserve to win the game. So
mm. Yeah, but there's
it's a
always
fact.
something different about knockouts than there is about like say the last game of the group, even though that we're through. Like both of us are going through, so like who really cares? So
Yeah.
when it comes to a knockout and a final, it's totally different. Like as you can see, like with us and PSG, we beat them in the group comfortably, and then semi-finals, a whole different team. It's the same squad, it's the same squad, but a whole different
How,
team.
how have we gone to Arsenal and PSG again, man? What
No,
are you
but
doing here?
that's the only thing I could think of.
What is wrong with you?
That's the only thing I can think of a team facing each other twice in
Yeah,
like one season. That's the only two I
yeah,
can
yeah.
compare to. Yeah.
Okay, I suppose I can let you off. I suppose I can let you off. But yeah, they've done a fantastic job. I think I've said this on a few groups. I feel Liverpool have benefited massively from this tournament because players like Jarrell Kwanzaa, they wanted £50 million, and they can probably easily ask for £50 million now because he was exceptional.
Yeah,
Same with Harvey Elliott. If they're looking to sell him, they're going to get whatever they ask for him pretty much because he looked probably the
yeah.
best player in the team. He was just so good. Like him and McAtee were the standouts for me, and it's just Elliott got all the goals and most of the assists as well
exactly. You
to
see,
ramp it up. So all of the big money they've spent, they're probably going to recoup by selling two players that they're not even looking to play next season. So
yeah. So, but see, like you said, the names there. You're talking about Premier League winners. You're talking, yeah, Premier League, actual Premier League winners. I don't know about McAtee. I don't know if he's got a Premier League.
he'll have he'll have one, I think.
You have
He'll have at least
medal
one
winner. Yeah. So you're
because
talking about.
McAtee's 22, so he wouldn't have got one last season. He was on loan at Sheffield United the
Oh
season
yeah,
before. He
yeah.
probably would have got one the season before that though.
Mm. So we're talking about actual Premier League winners. Like Constance had a lot of games this season for Liverpool. Elliott's had a lot of games for Liverpool as well. Like experienced players. I don't think in the past England even had that in the under 21s. It was all about new up and coming players and players that actually play in under 21s for our clubs. And
Yeah,
then
yeah. There's loads of them. Like I don't know about the goalie. I know he's at Brighton. I'm not sure who he was on loan
yeah,
to last
there's
season.
certain
But
there's
then you've
certain
got
players.
Cresswell and Kwanzaa. both play decent football.
Yeah,
Livramento has been
yeah,
class for Newcastle this season.
exactly.
The
And
left,
Liverpool's also been in and out of the actual like England team, hasn't he, as well? Like, well, the squads at least.
he got to make the choice.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
between Carsley and Tuchel, they let Livramento make the choice of whether he wanted to be part of this squad or the squad that played for the senior team a little while back.
genius move.
And
I'm
he
so
decided
glad
he
to see
wanted to
yes.
go with the 21s.
Yeah,
Good
so
lad.
glad they said yes
Yeah.
because now look at his season. He's won, he's won a Carling Cup. He's finished in the Champions League spot, and he's got under 21.
Yeah.
Like what a season he's had.
Mm.
That's
Just shows a bit of desire as well. Like,
yes,
like
yeah.
he's not shied away from sort of like going and putting himself, like putting his neck out in a tournament.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. And it builds players well, because now if they do go up to the senior team, both of the last two squads that have gone and won this now know how to get through a tournament and get how to perform every couple of days in a tournament situation.
which is next season.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so it's fantastic for their progression, and I reckon we'll see a few of these players next season have proper breakout seasons wherever they end up playing. Because the last tournament, Gordon went. He was at Everton, hadn't looked great. Came in at Newcastle, we weren't that sold on him. Went to the Euros, was brilliant. Came back, had a brilliant season. So I think we'll see a
Do you
few
think
more
any
that
of
do that.
them? Do you think any of them get on the plane next year?
what 21s? Obviously,
Yeah.
Liverpool is number one.
I reckon Livramento.
Yeah,
Outside of that, you may be looking at what some we've already spoke about.
Elliot.
Maybe a James McAtee, maybe an Harvey Elliott, maybe an Elliot Anderson. Outside of that, I think it's going to take a massive push from anybody.
I see Elliot Anderson.
Maybe if Joel Kwanzaa does go to Leverkusen, like they're speaking about, and he has a fantastic season, he could push.
Yeah,
Outside of
It's
that,
an
it's
area
going to
where
take a
light.
lot. It's going
centre
to
back
take,
is quite light though, so I could see that as well. Konsa being
yeah.
in that squad.
I think everybody else is so far off. The next closest one out of the names we've just mentioned is probably Ethan Wanyeri,
Mm.
and he's 18 years old and probably won't play that much for Arsenal next season. So
What do you think of the guy that scored the winner? He plays for Marseille. Is it Rowe?
Jordan Rowe,
Yeah,
Jonathan Rowe,
Yeah.
Jonathan Rowe. Yeah,
he's another one that I've seen bits of him. He was at Norwich as well, wasn't he? And I think he's quite a good player.
he is, isn't it?
I wouldn't mind him being part of the Newcastle rotation in the front line because he can play through the middle and wide both sides.
Mm.
I was a little bit disappointed with him earlier on in the season because he was another one who just didn't look like he knew what he was doing in the system a lot of the time. He just was ending up in weird positions, and yeah, but
I
the
like.
winner the
Yeah,
winner could potentially push him on to have a brilliant season. He's at Marseille, I think. I don't know if
yeah.
he's
He needs to come back to the
Could,
Prem.
could we just have a quick shout out for like our like massive 180 we've done? Because 4 months ago we were like spitting feathers that Kwanzaa was in an England squad, and now we're saying he's potential for next year on the plane.
Yeah,
It's like that's always good to see. Like
yeah. To be
the
fair,
swings and
and even
roundabouts.
even if he was in the last England squad, I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, no,
But off
hundred
the
percent.
back of watching him in this, because watching him at Liverpool, I thought he was bang average, if not a little bit below that. Watching him in
I
this
was going to
tournament,
say,
he looked like the big kid in the playground, and he was just doing what he wanted. If he wanted to drive forward, he'd drive forward. And now he needs to push on. He has to have a really good season to get in the conversation. But if he goes to Leverkusen, like they're talking about, and has a really good season, then why not?
but
yeah,
if you look at England, are quite light in that area anyway. So like, I think his name would be there out of like desperation anyway, because we're not really
Yeah,
like
we're not. We
uber
haven't got loads.
yeah, exactly. So like, I don't know if Harry Maguire will make it next season. John Stones is up and down, and look at his age.
Yeah, you got Mark Gahey, Dan Burns been in and around the last few
Yeah,
squads. I can't even think who else has been in there, but
Braithwaite.
I can't see.
Braithwaite, yeah.
Yeah, so they're in a guaranteed like even starter for England at the moment. Centre backs.
Yeah, no, it's a fair
Yeah.
point. Very, very fair point. Before we move on, what does this mean for Lee Carsley, do you think? Because surely he's now at the point. For me, if I was sat in his position right now, I'd be like, okay, I've completed the under 21s now.
He
And
said
even if there's not another job lined up, I would walk away because there's no more. He can't top what he's just done.
he said
My only concern to that. Sorry, go on, Smith.
he said he wants to go for a third.
Has he?
Yeah, he wants to go for a third,
I
which makes
respect
sense.
it.
Yeah, he wants to build another
I
under
respect
21
it.
squad and go for a third. So I think,
I don't think it's a great idea, but I respect it.
yeah, I don't think he wants the stress, man, of management. I'll be honest. I don't think he wants that
I
club football
I
where.
also
Go on, John.
that's why I also personally think part of that wanting to stay and build a third is because he's probably got one eye on what old Tommy Tooks is going to do like, in a year's
Ah,
time because
Mm.
like that obviously that last window for for Tuchel like wasn't that last sort of like international break for Tuchel wasn't
yeah, yeah,
well
true.
didn't exactly inspire confidence. So like a lot can happen in a year and like another Euros is kind of building his stock up. If he sort of keeps it ticking over with the 21s, then why wouldn't he be in that conversation again?
Yeah,
Yeah, I suppose I can see that. If he doesn't want club football at all, he might be one of those. He might just stick it out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause
can understand that.
I reckon he could have gone club football ages ago, but I honestly don't believe he wants that.
I actually think he plays a really like good style of football.
Mm,
It's not like he's doing it and it's not a style of football that wouldn't work in the modern
yeah.
club game. I think it would. I think he plays a really good style of football.
Mm. It's like
But
he only had a few weeks to work with them, and he's pulled that out. So imagine him having like a full season with a certain club. So yeah, I see we're going with that one.
yeah, well, be
Yeah,
interesting to see what happens because he's done fantastically well to do what he's done. Buying a free one up at half time, by the way.
yeah.
And on the subject of the Club World Cup, let's get into it. So we're now at the round of 16 stage. I've only gone up to the quarterfinals because all of this stuff happens before next week's show. The semi-finals will be after next week's show, so we can talk about the rest of it next week. But at the minute, we have one quarterfinal of Palmeiras versus Chelsea. After Chelsea's mad game yesterday, I don't know if anybody saw that, but they were 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go. 2 hours of weather delays. Came back. Then Benfica scored a 95th minute penalty to equalise. Got a man sent off in the second minute of extra time. And then Chelsea went and scored three in the second half of extra time. Absolutely bonkers. I literally sat there. When it got delayed, I was like, oh, God, I just wanted to see Benfica equalise before I went to sleep and then see the result in the morning. So I sat there for half an hour and they said there was going to be another delay. And I just went to sleep. Woke up this morning and was just like, that's bonkers.
Yeah. 2 hours. I heard it was 2 hours. No, they
About
had
apparently
to,
a 2 hour delay.
that's
Courtesy of John sat there. John said it was a 2 hour delay. So
Yeah. No, Maresca was fuming by all accounts, wasn't he? Like in the presser afterwards, he was talking about how like clearly sort of like if these things are going to happen, then maybe this country isn't like fit to host it and so on, or like maybe these particular venues aren't fit to be hosting these games.
mm,
Um, Interesting that you're at the tournament in like getting into the latter stages and you're throwing your toys out the pram about that 'cause it's sort of a bit late to be worrying about that at that stage, isn't it? So,
yeah.
yeah, it's one of them. Shut up! You're getting paid you're getting paid a stupid amount of money. Just do whatever you can do. Which is like, do you know what the odd thing about yesterday's game is? Yeah, Chelsea obviously get the money for going through to the next round, but I'm pretty sure they still split 1.4 million for drawing the game.
Jordan. Oh my god.
Which is just like crazy for me.
Yeah. If you win,
I'm gonna have to have a look into that tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
yeah, that's
But
crazy.
then the other game that was played yesterday, Palmeiras Botafogo. Palmeiras looked much the better team and knocked Botafogo out, which already puts out my prediction from last week that Botafogo will be the side that reached the final from this side of the draw.
Mm.
And other than that, the only other game we've seen is PSG, who were ridiculous in the first half today
It's
against
so
Inter.
good. So good.
Oh
Honestly, man.
my
They just don't
God.
care, man. They just want to score and score and score.
That
Like,
could have been
I
8 at
saw
half
about
time.
yeah,
I saw about 5-10 minutes of the first half, right? And it when I tuned in, it was 1-0. When I stopped watching, it was 1-0. I I don't know. Like, is it possible to describe a performance as a procession without goals being scored? But that's genuinely what it seemed like. Like
mm,
they literally were just toying with them the entire time.
Yeah.
yeah,
Fair play to Inter Miami. They put up a much better fight in the second half and had a few chances.
yeah.
But like Messi played one of the most ridiculous passes I've ever seen, to be fair.
Every time, and yeah, he's creative. Like his creative
But
mind is crazy, man.
Yeah, but PSG they're just a joke. The
Mm,
way they play football and the way when they win it back, they break as a team and they've just got numbers on numbers on numbers. Like their second, was it their second goal? Yeah, it was their second goal. So they won it back high up the pitch. One of their midfielders overlapped the striker, and the other one underlapped and ran through the middle. So it went wide. He crossed it across the box to the other midfielder who tapped it in.
mm.
It's just like you don't like what they're doing at the minute is going to make every other team think actually that we need to start playing a little bit more exciting rather than just keep it slow, slow, slow.
Mm. He's this Hakimi. Like, what is like?
Big up Iniesta Wijnaldum.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Hakimi. Like, flipping hell, he loves to be in the box.
Yeah,
Like similar to like Cucurella for Chelsea. Like these fullbacks love it now. They're playing up front basically and getting goals.
yeah.
Like,
They're
what
just
is?
given the freedom to do what they want, though, isn't they?
Yeah,
Like, it's
like,
mad. And the first half, it literally seemed like PSG were like, we're not worried about Messi and Suarez going the other way because they've got zero pace these days.
hmm,
So we're just going to leave them 2-on-2 and let everybody else go and have fun.
yeah,
And it was crazy.
hey,
It's so good to watch. I love watching teams like that.
yeah,
Did
And
they
it
take
wasn't
their
like,
foot off the gas in the second half, or
yeah,
was it more of the same?
I think
big,
they did slightly,
yeah,
but
big time.
also a little bit of props to Mascherano. He found a way of getting Messi on the ball a little bit more. I don't remember Messi touching the ball in the first half,
Hmm,
but he found a way to get the ball at Messi's feet a bit more. And then as soon as Messi got the ball at his feet, the younger Inter Miami players just ran, and Messi was just finding passes second half.
yeah. I don't.
They looked a bit better.
I reckon like PSG do that a lot. Like they get to a certain score and it's just like, all right, we've done this in the first half, all right. So in the second half, it's like lackluster. They're just like, oh fuck it, like
Mm.
just kept giving the ball away a few times, and they weren't like you could tell like the energy weren't there compared to how it was in the first half. They did a few counter attacks. Obviously, it's part of football. We got like if we've got an opening, we're gonna take it, but they weren't really trying like that hard. Like we're 4-0 up, and you could it showed in that second half. Like they
I
didn't.
even think in the first half they weren't going like full
Yeah,
on. Let's just score a bag load of goals
yeah,
because there was a couple of situations they got into where they played the extra pass where you
mm,
wouldn't normally expect them to,
yeah,
and I think they were just trying to score the perfect goal in the
yeah.
first
They
half.
do that a lot.
It was
They do that
mad.
a lot. Yeah,
I'm
they
going to
do.
say one more thing on it. If Kvaratskhelia gets better at finishing, like
It's scary.
he's
It's scary.
wow,
It's scary. Yeah,
wow,
but he's actually all right at finishing. I just think he's just still adjusting to PSG because he
hmm.
only got there in January, and PSG are still kind of adjusting to themselves as well because they only kicked off in January.
Yeah.
So I feel like a full season, yeah, there'll be goals.
No, but
There'll,
if he develops that inside left into the far corner finish on his right
yeah,
foot, like it's a wrap
yeah,
because
and
he finds
especially
that little bit of space so
yeah,
often and gets the shot off, but it's always either a little bit too high or a little bit too wide.
yeah,
I
that's
saw one where he hit it a little bit too wide, and it was exactly what he said. He dropped off perfectly, found the space, cut in. Everything was everything but the finish. Like
Yeah.
it was perfect. But
He had
like
about 3 or 4 of them today, and they were all either a little bit too high or a little bit too wide. If he can tweak that a little bit and they start falling into the top corner, then boy, it's
because
a wrap.
I thought his game was slightly different at Napoli. It's almost like he would take on players and get as close enough to the keeper as he could, and then finish. But now, like you said, his game is about like getting it to the left, cutting in, and try wrapping it. I feel like he needs to work on it, but
Yeah,
I don't know where he's going to get the time to do that because as soon as this is done, and say they get to the final, 2 weeks off, come back, season starts because I'm
yeah,
sure the French league starts as early as we do. So it's about working on these things, and yeah, I don't know when he's gonna
yeah,
get like the time in preseason to actually work on finishing like that. Because you're
yeah.
right, like as soon as he
The,
gets back, whew, it's over.
the
It's
only
like,
other thing I'd slightly disagree with this comment that he's a
yeah,
bit like a right-footed Robin is that he's a lot smoother on the ball than Robin, I think, and I think he covers like his pace with the ball is a little bit like Giggs. He seems
yeah,
the same pace whether he's got it or not.
that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
And yeah, but if he develops that finish like Robin had,
Yeah, that's it.
you
Yeah,
knew once he cut in, it's
It's over.
you're done. If he
I think it
develops
means
that.
in terms of like not the finishing part, but like you can't stop him from cutting
Yeah,
in.
yeah, you know what he's going to do, but you
Yeah,
can't stop him from doing it. I get it from that point of view. I
yeah,
just feel like
yeah.
Capscale is a little bit smoother with it
He is
and
smoother. Yeah,
a bit quicker with like when he's got the ball at his feet. I've only ever seen Giggs sort of run at one speed when he hasn't got it, but still be at the same speed when he has got it. And
yeah,
Capscale's got that.
yeah, yeah. I think he's going to be dangerous next season, man. A
Yeah,
full season, they can win it.
definitely so.
They can.
Definitely so. Right. Let's get on to our other topic for the evening, which is about managers. And I think we're going to focus more on poor managers. So me and John are going to have a lot of input here. Samir probably not so
Yeah,
much.
I might. I might.
But I googled
Oh,
and this image came up instantly.
oh, that's a corker.
I told you that. I know it was that bad. I know he was horrible, but
This was one of the first images that came up when I googled it. So I thought I liked it. I'm going to stick with it.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
please.
But before we go with it and start delving deeper into who were the worst managers, both world football and in the Prem, on different aspects and over a different amount of games, I want to ask one question. What do you feel has changed over the years? Because managers don't seem to get anywhere near as much time as they used to get. And the trigger seems to get pulled a lot quicker. What do you feel's changed? Is it the money aspect? Is it social media?
I
What do
think
you
the
guys
advent
think?
of social media for sure.
Okay.
That's a good question. You've got to think about that one.
You've got very different styles of ownership now as well. I think you've got like a lot of very impressionable kind of.
Because while you're thinking about that, yeah,
But wait,
I'm
let me.
gonna play something while you're thinking about that.
No, but let me. Before I start thinking, are you saying so? Basically, are you saying like what's changed in terms of like they're getting longer
They're
in
getting less time.
oh they're getting less time? Okay, okay. All
Love this comment as well.
right.
I remember the video of him sort of doing that
Mate,
weird little dance where he's going forward, forward, and he's stepping forward and then he's stepping back and he's doing. It's just like, what are you doing?
Oh my
But
days.
while you're thinking about the what's changed question, I'm going to play a little video. I hope it doesn't get copyrighted, but this could have literally changed the face of English football if it was now and he wasn't given the time. But just listen to this little segment.
Saturday, 23rd of September, Man City.
You like it all over the place.
It was 5-1.
Alex Ferguson won 3 championships with Aberdeen in Scotland, but he's finding it a far more difficult prize to get his hands on south of the border.
I remember after the game,
gotta be honest, Mitchell, I can't hear
I got
anything.
home,
Okay, I think.
I just stayed in my bed, you know,
Can you not hear it, John?
probably the best place
Nah.
to be.
Do you see just above your screen? Have you got a little microphone on the top left of your screen as you're viewing it?
Yeah,
Is it crossed out?
no, it's red.
Yeah, click it. Click it so it's not red.
Saturday, 23rd of September.
You got it now?
Man City. Home, I just stayed in my bed,
You press?
you know.
No, I
Probably
still
the
play at
best
my
place
end.
to be.
No, I mean John.
Oh no, I'm not getting. Don't worry, you can fill me in a minute. It's fine.
I've been there for over 3 years. And that's when the cries were coming out, you know, Fergie out.
Yeah.
We got calls into the house, I remember that, yeah. I do. You know, go back to fucking Scotland and all that, yeah. You're fucking useless. I was just put the phone down, you know.
So basically, what it was them talking about Fergie leading up to, I believe it was, I think it was 1990.
1990 cup
Yeah,
final, is it?
1990, kind of turn of the year. They lost 5-1 to Man City, and then there was chants for Fergie out. People were ringing up his house, saying he's useless, go back to Scotland and stuff like that. And then they beat Nottingham Forest very late in the next FA Cup game and went on to win the FA Cup that year. And that basically saved his job.
Oh yeah,
Whereas now, if that kind of thing happened, social media would go mad
yeah.
and you'd potentially see in the back of a manager. Considering what Ferguson then went on to do,
Mm.
and also thinking about this, oh no, it's not working properly. Wait. Get rid of that. Thinking about this,
Mm.
what we've seen
Yeah.
happen recently, and also this guy.
Yeah.
Do you feel that clubs need to be a little bit more patient these days? Because I know that fans seem to have a lot more access to the board and social media and stuff like that. That puts a lot more pressure on managers, but literally would
It
have
can be.
changed the face of English football if Ferguson got sacked all of them years ago.
I
Yeah,
think like there's so many different factors there because actually you could argue to a lesser extent. Like, I don't know what Samir would make on this, but think about Arteta
I was
because
gonna.
at one point there was a very strong vocal Arteta out sort of presence.
Mm.
You know, like prior to a couple of years ago, like it was like so it was only really sort of like 22, 23 that it really started properly turning around at Arsenal in that sense. But like I don't know, like Samir, would you say leading up to that there was a quite a big sort of like I don't know, like vocal sort of majority that wanted him gone, or
Hell yeah, hell yeah, because he had a few like the results weren't going great. Like we went 10 games or so without winning winning any games, and I just look with Arteta is totally different because Arteta went from being an assistant manager straight into being a manager. So he's not
at a top club as well.
he ain't got like many experience. So like it was easy for Arsenal fans to jump on someone like him. So I don't know. I feel like with certain managers, it's quite easy to jump on them because they don't have that much experience of like managing. You want like a manager, like if you have a manager who's got like let's say Pep was at Bayern Munich and he came to Arsenal. I reckon like a lot like not not all us Arsenal fans, but a lot of us would have given him more time, even though we had a few like bad results. Like we looked at Arteta, we had Arteta, like I said, ain't got too many. He didn't have experience at all, and we're thinking, rah, like where can we go from here with this type of manager? So I think United are almost in the same situation right now because it is slightly different because obviously their manager's like been in management for a while. He's still young, but he's won things with Sporting, and he's played Champions League football, so he's managed. So it's totally different in that aspect of things. Like Arsenal fans are kind of like we know who Arteta is, but in management, we don't know who you are. Like you haven't been here too long, so we were quick to jump on his case.
Yeah, that's all fair
I
points. To
think
be fair, I've said a lot on the Man United situation, and as much as I've just said potentially they need to give people more time, I
Mm,
still feel like they're making a massive mistake where they are. But
I think
yeah, I
as
just
well
feel
though,
that it's
like I think
interesting because I haven't ever. It's always kind of been referenced the Fergie thing, and I haven't fully looked into it until this weekend, basically,
yeah,
and I didn't realize how much they were on his case. I thought it
yeah.
was just one of these myths that he was potentially going to get sacked, but it was actually quite a widely known fact that if he lost the game at Forest, he was gone.
I remember,
uh,
I can't remember who was our manager. I think it was Emery or Arteta at the time. Like in terms of like defending him, I used to always bring that up in a sense because I obviously went around for that, but I used to hear like, yeah, they wanted his head, like Alex Ferguson. Like this is this is crazy how Man United wanted him out. So that like way of telling like other fans, look, Man United fans wanted Alex Ferguson out, so look at him. So in that way, it could work for like other managers to give them time in it. You
Yeah,
could always, like you've just done now. You've showed us a video of how United fans wanted Sir Alex Ferguson out, but look what they did. They gave him time, and that is almost a blueprint for other managers. You could show that.
yeah, but it's well, maybe not a blueprint, but it is kind of it does show that if you stick by your manager a little bit more, he can potentially, some will potentially turn it round rather than
Yeah.
it being a blueprint that all can. But
Oh
again,
no.
this point again from Genius Wijnaldum here, I think this is spot on
Very good point.
because
Yeah,
like
massively.
Oh my days! I was actually
it's
so
normally always the head coach or the manager that's in the firing
yes.
line.
Oh
Sporting directors sit
yeah,
up there and they've potentially given him a dead squad. And this reference again is spot on.
amazing.
Can I grab the floor on this one?
Yeah, go
Because
for it.
I genuinely think like I feel Junior has the one Alden there like big up because that's a massively big
Massive.
point. Is
Yeah.
something I was going to come to is that I think where management is also changing is there's it's about, like I think sometimes it's about you've got managers that come in and want to implement certain styles, and it's about where as a club how well are your board like are your board like more
Mm. Mhm.
Sabir, can you still hear John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going out. I couldn't hear him, but it seemed like you can, so I didn't say anything. But Genius to Wijnaldum saying that he can't hear him either now.
Okay.
It seems like John's just dropped absolute fire and we can't hear him.
Yeah. I heard him. I heard.
Yeah, no, your sound thing's moving on my screen, John, but I can't actually hear
I
what you're
couldn't hear
saying.
him.
I can't. No.
Oh, that's crazy.
Let me remove him from the scene and add him back in 1 sec.
Oh. I mean, what I could tell you is that his screen hasn't moved in a while. But
See, now that you're in the background, John, I can hear you. It's weird. Speak, John.
it's different.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't hear him.
Yeah. But he'll come out and come back in.
The weird thing is, I can
You can hear him.
when he's in the background, I can hear him. What the hell's happened here? It's the first time I've ever known that to happen in my life.
Mm.
Let me. That's frustrating because it seemed like he was dropping absolute fire because he was talking for quite a while and I could see
Yes.
the sound thing moving. And
I
I was like, I'm not going to say nothing because if everybody else can hear him and he's dropping
yeah, leave
the
it. Leave
best bars you've heard, then I don't
Oh
want
my
to
god.
interrupt it. But then the comment came up and I was like, I'm actually.
He was going through the list of like Southampton, man.
Wait. Let me add you back into the scene, please. Right, try that, John. I still can't hear you in the scene at all.
That's crazy. Yeah, I can hear you. Why can I hear you?
Try now. No, it's weird.
What?
It's weird. You're not on mute or anything.
His camera's working again. Well, it's moving slow. Oh no, you're back.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything
There,
now?
that's better. I've got you now.
There we go. Right. Sorry. I have no idea. Literally no idea. All right. Basically, just I was making a very long point there, so I'll try and summarize it. Basically, I was saying how with Saints there was no real strategy in terms of what we were trying to do in terms of the style of football, and it's made every manager who's come in, it's made their job harder because you had Hassan who had the entire club playing in this kind of high pressing 4-2-2-2 model. Jones came in and went, no, we're going to go like proper archaic and lump it. But Jones got a ton of money to spend and brought players in that were direct and and then Martin comes in and he wants to play like possession based football and it's all sort of like very intricate and tippy tappy and whatever. But what we've now got is we've just got a completely incoherent style and I think that's not like going back to Amorim. It's I think Amorim's kind of suffering from a bit of that at United because he's kind of like there's been a lot of money chucked at a lot of managers and a lot of players on high wages that they can't get out of the club, and you've almost got to come in. And Amarim's done what Russell Martin did. He's gone, I'm playing my style. End of. Players will either fit in or they won't. And I think there's that aspect. It's the style over success
Mm,
model, I guess,
yeah,
is the way that you could put it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost stubborn. What do you mean? Andrew's like that as well. It's almost like no, sorry, my way or the highway. Even if it's not working, we're still going to keep doing it. Which I get because you want the players to get used to it, but you just don't have the personnel for it. So adjust in a way to the personnel, and then like once you get your own players in the season after, then try all that. But yeah, it's I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I totally agree with that aspect of things that the manager has to deal with the players that he's got at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But also flipping back to Van Adam's point that I've seen at Newcastle is very rare because we've never really had that kind of setup. But when Keegan came back,
oh god,
he left for that exact reason.
the
Like
sporting.
he had lined up himself a deal for Luka Modric, and
Wow.
then all he had to do was Modric's agent had to meet. I think it was Derek Lambias at the time and Mike Ashley. It might have even been some involvement with Dennis Wise as well to sign the deal off. And they had the meeting. Meeting went well. All parties left thinking the deal was going to get signed. And the three at the time, I'm pretty sure it was Lambias, Wise, and Ashley, decided to sign someone else. And Modric went and signed for Tottenham instead.
Wait, who's that? Someone else?
Do. I can't even think of who it was at the time, but it was someone rubbish, that properly rubbish.
Yeah.
It might have even been Alan Smith from Man United.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, in the timeline, that's possible.
I think it might have even been Alan Smith.
Yeah.
It was one of them. It was a Smith, a Nicky Butt. It was someone like that. They were rubbish and coming right near the end of their career,
Yeah.
and they
On
passed
massive
up on Luka
wages and
Modric.
shit.
Yeah, and that is why Keegan walked away the second time.
I think he did the right thing though.
Let's see. Ginny Esther Wijnaldum believes it was one of Smith or Butt as well.
I think managers did the right thing on that one. Keegan's done the right because you're bringing these players in, and then like once you bring these players in, the first person we're looking at, like in terms of like these players, we're looking at you as the
Yeah.
manager instead of looking at the people above, which is so unfair. Like imagine you did sign Modric and he become a baller. So you've got Alan Smith or God knows. My first thought is Keegan signed this player because we don't know the background. We don't know
Yeah.
about things. We don't even know about Modric. We didn't even know about him being linked with you. All we've seen is you signed Alan Smith or whoever it was, Nicky Butt, and we're looking at Keegan, and that's what I've argued with a lot of people. Like, why are we looking at management when it comes to some of these signings and stuff? Like, these sporting directors are getting away with hell, like
Yeah.
a lot. Like, because like when we had Edu, we were signing all these Brazilians. Like, we're thinking, like, it's Eddie was a Brazilian himself, so you can it's his idea. But like everyone's all looking at like say Arteta or Emery and thinking, "What are you doing? You're the one signing these players and this that and this and that." But I don't think it's on them at all. I think it's scouts. I think it's sporting directors and stuff. Like the managers really have like talent ID like that to go.
Well,
Unless
one
they-
thing I will say, because you keep saying managers, this is why
yeah,
we're now seeing the difference in the wording.
head
So
coach.
if someone's named and
Yeah,
announced as a manager, they
yeah,
have to take partial blame.
mm.
If the wording is head coach, it is exact that all of that blame should be taken away from them,
Okay, yeah,
because
yeah.
a head coach just
Mm.
gets given players and doesn't get involved in any of the other stuff.
Mm.
He just deals with coaching the team, putting it out on a Saturday, and goes from there. Whereas a manager
Does that?
will be involved. He will. I don't know if they still have final say, but he will have a bigger say in who's getting signed.
But who has a head coach right now? Like who's
Maresca's a head coach.
Maresca's head coach? Yeah, oh, okay,
Maresca's a head coach, whereas Eddie Howe is a manager.
he's a manager.
Arteta is a manager.
Yeah,
Pep is a manager.
yeah,
I'm not sure about other clubs,
yeah.
but they're the four that I know for fact
They are
of what
managers.
they
I
are at
remember
their
the
club.
name change with Arteta. Yeah,
And I believe Thomas Frank is a head coach.
he's a head coach. Yeah,
And the same as Ange was a head coach. Tottenham have always gone down the head coach role.
of course, because they don't want these managers involved with, or well, head coaches involved with transfers.
Is that true, Samir?
Was it? Yeah, or is it someone? I think it was another player. I can't remember who it was, but yes, they did. I think it was Marquinhos, but yeah. But at
That is
the time, you don't even know
crazy.
who any of them are. So like, let's
That is crazy. No, but that is poor talent ID, man.
yeah. In
As
hindsight,
much as we wouldn't have known what they are, you would expect someone at that level of the game
yeah,
to be able to pick the right
that's
one when it's like that far apart.
that's the thing. What comes down to these predicaments of like with Edu is Brazilian, so he's gonna sign this Brazilian over Cava, and like we've got now a Spanish sporting directors, and we're getting all these Spanish players in. Like
Mm.
it's mad. Like if we had a choice between a flipping Zuma Mendy and Declan Rice, imagine they were still at another club. They're gonna pick Zuma Mendy because he's Spanish. Like that's the type of like shit we're in right now, and I hate all that.
Yeah.
Honestly, do I hate all that.
Yeah, it should be. It should just be the best player that
Yes,
you
yeah,
need, regardless
exactly,
of nationality or
exactly,
all of that. It should just be the best fit for what you're looking for at the time.
exactly, and
But
that's
I suppose that's what separates the very good sporting directors and head coaches. I mean, head scouts or whatever you want to call them,
yeah,
and the ones that just bounce around the game to different clubs here and there, nicking a paycheck, pretty much.
yeah. But fair enough. Like obviously, Arsenal had the time when we had the French players, and we were bringing in French players and stuff like that. But like that model ain't today. Like it's gone
No,
now. Like
but that was Wenger as a manager.
that was Wenger. So he was involved
Yeah.
in thing, and I think Wenger of all time might be best talent ID manager around. Like I think I honestly do. I honestly do, man. Like look at
That's a,
the
Is
that's a
it?
that's a wild. That's a big shout.
I think
Is
I
it?
honestly do, man, because like he would find the most odd players and turn them into something. Like he did that for years. I don't know who's done that in terms of high level football.
Well,
If we're talking the Peps, we're talking Mourinho, we're talking all that. I don't know who's
Alex
done that.
Alex Ferguson did it for fucking
Yeah,
20 years, man.
yeah, but he also signed flipping Rio Ferdinand for 30 million. We weren't doing that.
Wait. Wenger had some misses, man. Let's not pretend he
Yeah,
had
yeah,
all his.
no.
Granny Jackers.
I'm not saying they were perfect. I'm just saying like we've had more ups than we had more ups and downs. Like
Yeah,
we've
but
had
then
more.
you've got to say that Man United had more ups than you had ups because they won a
No, but
lot more titles.
he also went out and signed like um players that we know. Like we had a whole squad of players that we never flipping knew. Like completely.
Who?
Well, Haleb,
Yeah,
Haleb,
I'll give you Haleb. I'll give you Haleb. Yeah,
this was 17. Flipping Flamini. There's so many. Aluminium. Like They like the whole squad was absolute like
Mm.
we didn't know any of these in the last 2 years before we signed them. Like they're all new to us. Like, can you imagine Alexandra Haleb? Will get like what color he was like from? What, not color. What country was he from? Like Belarus.
Belarus, yeah.
What the hell? And he became like he's one of the best dribblers we've seen in Prem.
Yeah.
Like it was mad. Like his talent ID was crazy. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know too many managers. Yeah, Alex Ferguson possibly could be there because he used to get the like Fletchers and the O'Shea's and stuff like that. But like compared to Wenger, I don't think he was better.
It's about understanding the profile of player that is right for the football that you're trying to play as well,
Yeah,
isn't it? And
that's exactly that. And he was
I
most.
think
Our
there's
football
too
was
many,
amazing.
and it goes back to that. That goes back to what Mitch was saying about like people that sort of stumble from club to club. It's because they're not really There's not a coherency between like what the style of football that is wanted to be played and the players that are being identified to be brought in for
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I look at Amras. That's exactly what he's got to get right going into the next season. Whoever their sporting director is, they got to work on that. Like who would fit in with
Yeah.
what I'm trying to play.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot more complex than it used to be of just hiring a guy that can do a bit of all of it and make it
Mm,
work. There's so many more moving parts. It's all got to fit together quite well.
yeah.
Which is where Newcastle have gone wrong a little bit over the last few years. As much as we've got everything right when it comes to signings, we've got the manager appointments right, our backroom staff, like the coaching side of the backroom staff is pretty much spot on. We have still not got our sporting director right because we've had two in 2 years now.
Mm,
And apparently we're still looking to get someone else in. So I feel like this is the time we have to get it right. I don't think we can afford to get that wrong again. As much as Eddie Howe and his team have done a fantastic job of identifying talent and bringing them in, I feel we're getting to a level we need someone to assist with that a little bit now.
question on that though: who sorts that out? Like sporting directs for you? Like who goes out and finds these sporting directors to obviously be in your club?
Maybe there's a director of football or whoever from the ownership team is most involved in the day-to-day running of the club
All right.
will be the one that looks into that.
So
I
with
know Hal has input. Hal definitely has input.
yeah, I was thinking that because on Football Manager they give you the
He
option of like
definitely.
you wanna
I think the only one he didn't have input on was Mitchell, and they clashed a bit at the start.
yeah.
And I've got a little bit of a weird theory on it that Mitchell was brought in to give us a list of young players up and coming that we can work from. And now we've got Champions League again. He's not really the guy we need
Mm. You need someone
because we
who's
feel we're shopping in a bracket above what he was delivering and he was asked to deliver, which I feel that's why he's gone. If we hadn't got Champions League, I think he would have stayed because we would have been shopping in a lower bracket of the next
yeah.
up again, whereas we need
Yeah.
ready-made now. But that's a whole different subject. Let's get back on to the worst managers. So this is win ratio-wise,
Oh my
the
god.
worst 10 managers in club football history, which is like bonkers to think. And I didn't even think Steve McLaren at Newcastle would be on there, to be honest. I knew we've had some bad ones, but that's bonkers. 25% win ratio. You got Ego Austin from Wimbledon, which I believe was early 90s, mid 90s. Not sure when the
Yeah,
bird.
mid to late. That's when it was starting to go a bit belly up at Wimbledon.
Yeah. And then we've got Robin Dutt. Not sure who he is at Werder Bremen. Montella. I remember him as a player. I'm sure I
Yeah,
do.
that's what I was thinking. What the hell did he get into?
That's the Championship Manager '02 legend, isn't it? The
Yeah,
one that
it
was
is.
What the hell did he get into, man?
Yeah.
the Roma
That must have,
Chico.
that must have been pretty recent. Then you've got Paul Gill, the famous Derby side that went down with about 8 points and got 4 of them off Newcastle.
We'll always
Terry,
argue that they were a victim of their own success the year prior. I just don't think they were ready to come up. They just happened to get into form at the right time. But
Mm.
yeah. Terry Butcher, who's famous for bleeding with his headband on for England as a player at Hibernian.
hemorrhaging points as well, by the looks of it.
Top.
Oh,
Tony,
love that.
no, Tony.
Love that. Tony Adams, one of Samir's goats, in at number 4, 22 games at Bournemouth with an 18% win ratio. Yap Stam at Cincinnati, he was pretty
That's
poor.
shocking.
He was pretty poor at Reading as well, to be fair.
Well, did he
Yeah,
not manage Rangers as well, or something like that? I can't
I
remember.
think so. Yeah.
How did he get? Oh, that's bad.
Then you also have just above them Laurie Sanchez at Fulham. I'm pretty sure I remember that as well.
I'd forgotten about him. That when I saw him on the graphic, that one had totally like I'd just forgotten it. Howard Wilkinson, I've remembered, but yeah, like
I don't know why I'm guessing at these. I've still got a tab open from when I did this actual picture. So we'll go back again. Egal Olsen was 10. He was June 99 to May 2000, 43 games, 11 wins, 12 draws, 20 defeats. 1 point per game he was getting. Steve McLaren, absolutely shocking for Newcastle, 2015 to 2016, one of Mike Ashley's wonderful ideas. He won 7 games after getting beat by Bournemouth. Do you know what the good thing about this Steve McLaren thing was? We followed it up by appointing Rafa Benitez.
yeah,
Oh yeah, you loved him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Rafa Benitez is an absolute legend up in Newcastle. But yeah, McLaren,
that guy
32
did
games,
season.
7 wins, 6 draws, 18 defeats. Terrible, terrible stuff. Who we got here? Robin Dutt, 2013 to 2014 at Werder Bremen. Vincenzo Montella. This is actually quite recent, 2019, April to
Wow.
December. He only got 27 games, 6 wins, 7 draws, 14 defeats. Which I'm just going to Google Vincenzo Montella because
Definitely a bad.
our friend Iniesta Wijnaldum says he's surprised to see him on there because he's had quite a good managerial career. So I'm just going to have a little Google before we move on from him. No, it's
We'd like to
showing
know
me
where.
player stats. What's that?
We'd like to know where he's at now.
Italian football manager, former striker. Yeah, so he is the striker that used to
Yeah.
score a hatful of goals.
Hmm.
So he's at Turkey. He's
Oh,
Turkey's
okay.
manager.
Oh wow.
Oh,
So he went from Catania to Fiorentina, Sampdoria, Milan, Seville, Fiorentina again, and then Adana, then support, and then on to Turkey. So after that spell at Fiorentina, he had about 2 years out and then went on to be Turkey manager.
okay.
And then who are we at now? Number 6, Paul Jewell from that season we just spoke about. 58 games he had in total, 12 wins, 15 draws, 31 defeats. Terry Butcher, 2013 to 2014, 29 wins. I mean, 29 games, 6 wins, 8 draws,
I
15
feel like
defeats.
with Paul Jewell though, did Paul Jewell not take over from someone during the season? Like in that when they were in the Prem? I don't. I might be wrong on that.
That's crazy.
I feel like it was one of those where like they came up with like a thinking like famous like Scottish man, Billy Davis.
I'm sure
I'm
he
pretty
came up.
sure. I'm pretty sure Derby had Billy Davis, and then Paul Jewell took over during that season. So I don't think the whole season was Paul Jewell. I want to double check that.
What in Prem? I thought
Yeah,
So that was,
well
it
at
would have been
Derby.
07-08 season. Yeah, so he came in the November in 07. So
Yeah, 'cause Billy Davis would have been. I think it was Billy Davis that got the only win. So that's quite something.
no, I think Paul Jewell did. I'm pretty sure it was a
Oh,
rainy December. I'm pretty sure it was raining in December when they beat us.
you
That
can.
ratty Scottish striker scored from about 40 yards.
Kenny Miller.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, Billy Davis left the club on the 26th of November 2007, replaced by Paul Jewell.
he got big.
Um,
Was it not Clough? After, oh, which I remember. Did he not get replaced that same season?
What's that? Paul Jewell stayed till the following season.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He
And then
got in.
replaced by
He
Clough.
was with them till
no,
December in the championship season, then got sacked.
it says that after taking just 6 points from 14 matches, including their only win of the season, a 1-0 win at against Newcastle, Davis left by mutual consent. So it was Davis that got on that win, apparently.
Oh,
Not surprised either.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna search something else because because that's a crazy stat. If who's got that right there? Right, I'll keep flying through these. Samir's favourite one, Tony Adams in number 4. 22 games, 4 wins, 7 draws, 11 defeats.
That's not bad.
It's terrible. It's not bad, it's
We'll
terrible.
take it, yeah.
And then you've got Yapstam FC Cincinnati, 47 games, 8 wins, 13 draws, 26 defeats.
Jeez.
Laurie Sanchez, 24 games, 4 wins, 8 draws, 12 defeats. Some of these are so bad. And then last but not least, Howard Wilkinson, 27 games, 4 wins, 8 draws, 15 defeats. Some pretty poor managerial stats there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's have a little look at some more Prem, because we might remember some of. Well, John will definitely remember some of these.
Oh no!
This is where John comes into his own.
Yeah, poor Terry Connor being stuck between them two.
This is the worst Premier League managers who have had more than 10 games at least.
Oh, okay.
I sort of wish we'd left Martin in charge because he'd be top of the pile by an absolute distance at this point. If he'd have had a full season in the Prem, honestly.
You might be right, to be fair. You actually might be right.
We were never going to change the way we played. No one was ever going to come to us in the January because they knew we were doomed. Like, that's kind of why Juric came in, and he's basically taken the bullet for Martin there. I genuinely think Martin is one of the worst Premier League managers in history.
What is it with these really bad managers playing against Newcastle and actually not looking that bad?
The hate.
Yeah, well, opening day of the season last year, you thinking?
Yeah, I thought you came and I thought these are going to be safe because you look pretty good against us.
Yeah, it's the first game of the season, isn't it? I think
It was us in a nutshell, though. It was the manner in which we lost the game, which did not surprise any of us. And actually, I think we were fairly toothless, like from what I remember. Like,
Yeah.
we looked tidy enough, but like there was no bite at the other end. It's the footballing embodiment of erectile dysfunction. Watching Martin's football, man. Like, honestly, it was just like, yeah, there was never anything up top. It was awful.
Yeah, that's pretty mad. Right, I've just Googled what Iniesta Wijnaldum said. And Steve Bruce, 476 Premier League games, 133 wins, 132 draws, 211 losses, which is a win percentage of 27.9%. And it's average points per game of 1.11 average points per game.
He's not far off that list, is he? Let's be honest.
No, he is very, very close to being on that list, which is absolutely bonkers that he just kept getting job after job and decent jobs as well.
Yeah.
He was Newcastle manager not that long ago.
Oh, it was horrible.
How much does the Fergie influence have on that, though? You know, like...
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely massive.
I mean, Steve Bruce's real legacy is like season tickets and cabbages that were thrown at him, really. Like, agreed there. How did you get the Atalanta job?
Yeah, the Atalanta job. That's a big job. That's Champions League, man. Yeah, what the hell?
He was highly regarded in Italy for being able to take teams and punch above his weight with them. So he would take teams that are kind of like just come up and sort of like establish them in mid-table. I mean, Christ knows how that means you walk into an Atalanta job after what he did at. So with Juric, like I don't. He was a dead man. Like whoever came in was a dead man walking.
Yeah.
Like the players were like the dressing room was gone. The lot. It was. I think he came in thinking he was going to do a bit more of a job than he was actually able to.
100%. He wanted that. He wanted to be.
He looks like he absolutely loves Genoa. He played for Genoa between 2006 and 2010. And then somehow he managed Genoa back-to-back 3 times. I'm not even going to dig deeper into what the hell that was. But it says from 2016 to 2017, and then it's listed as Genoa again in 2017, and then Genoa in 2018. So whether he was leaving and coming back is
It's like Mourinho and Chelsea.
bonkers.
How many times has Mourinho been back?
Okay,
Russian,
so
right?
here it is. So he joined in June 2016, was sacked in February 2017. Then he was reinstated in April 2017 after another manager was sacked. And then he was sacked again in November 2017. And then he was reappointed in November 2018.
What the fuck?
And was sacked again in December 2018.
What the hell, man?
How does that even happen?
Did he last a month in his last stint?
His last stint was nearly 2 months. So it was October 9th to December 6th.
That's incredible.
And they just kept. I don't get how they would keep appointing him back. He must interview really well because he's obviously now at Atlanta. So his interviewing must be ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Makes sense that he wants to take Sulemana there as well, though. Really does make sense now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What we were saying earlier. So.
Yeah.
And then I have one more visual for this. This is the worst Premier League managers when they have managed 25 games or more.
Oh, the topics.
That's unfair. That is so unfair.
Yeah. So every time you slightly change the needle, you get different managers. So you've got Mick McCarthy. Let me make sure I'm reading off the right. Yeah, Mick McCarthy, who did 2 stints at Sunderland and Wolves, 138 games, 27 wins, 109 points, which is 0.79 per game. Scott Parker, Fulham and Bournemouth, 52 games, 9
With
wins.
Bournemouth, did he not last like 2 games? Because they got the 9-0 and then he basically slagged off the ball and got sacked the next day.
Yeah.
So he only did like 2 games in the top flight.
Top flight, path for left ball. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't tell me on this thing. But you're probably right there. Then you've got Adi Boothroyd, Watford. 38 games, 5 wins, 28 points. Jesus Christ. Was that
like the Ashley Young team, like the Adi Boothroyd one? That would have been like Ashley Young.
So I would have been. So it's 2006, 2007. So it's probably about that time, yeah.
Yeah, man. There's a couple of decent players in that.
Yeah. I remember that time. Ashley Young playing as a number 10 for Watford.
The striker. I could see the striker and I can't remember his name.
Crazy times. I love this. Okay, this reference is brilliant. Scott Parker is the Dwight Gale of managers. Although Scott Parker's down here as being a terrible manager, we will have no Dwight Gale slander on this show. Thank you, Julius the White Owl. I'm obliged to say that as both me and Samir know Dwight, and it could be bad for friendships otherwise.
I don't give a fuck.
Samir doesn't care. Slag him off all you want.
Didn't Steve Bruce recently dig out Dwight Gale in an interview?
No, Steve Bruce.
I was going to say that. It's about Bruce, yeah.
No, but then Bruce actually retorted in a presser, and he was like, "Oh, is that the same Dwight Gale that like couldn't play in simple systems and missed hatfuls of chances?" Like, there is a quote that, like somewhere. I'll try and find it. But, my bad, Dwight. I love it.
Yeah, the shit come back from Bruce. Yeah, and like the stats, absolutely.
Here you go, John. Look, Parker got sacked after two games into the season. I don't know if that's 2 games total he did at Bournemouth, but it was 2 games into the season.
No, he got them promoted, but then like when they came back up, the 9-0 happened, and he basically turned around and said, "Well, realistically, this is about what the board want to do. Do they see us as just being here to take part, or do they want to spend some money and actually give us a chance of staying up?" And their response was, "Yeah, see you later." And then, ironically, Iraola got appointed, so that one's aged pretty well on Parker.
I was about to say nothing wrong with that, but then who did they get in the end? So it makes sense.
No, wait, wasn't thingy before Iraola? O'Neill.
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh no, you're right. It was Gazza O'Neill.
Yeah, because Gary O'Neill did really well. He got nominated for manager of the season, then got sacked, and they got Iriola in,
That's
didn't they?
right. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that is it. I
Right,
mean,
how
there
far
is.
down this list were we? Oh, John Gorman, Swindon, very early days of the Prem.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Second season, I think it was 42 games, 5 wins, only getting 30 points. So he did one full season. Rob Edwards at Luton, which was only last year, 38 games, six wins, 26 points. Vincent Company, Burnley, again last year, 30, and then 38 games, 5 wins, 24 points. And he's now managing Bayern Munich right this minute in the Club
Yeah,
World Cup.
looking forward to.
And then Daniel Farker, Norwich,
Yeah, shit manager.
49 games,
Nah,
six
always
wins,
thought he was
26
hard done
points.
by. Always thought he was I don't know. I think the first time they came up, they spent like next to nothing,
Yeah.
and just sort of like were hoping he was just going to keep them up on vibes. Essentially, I think
Yeah.
Norwich are very much into that model of like we're just going to boom, 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 and whatever. So
Thank God it's stopped now because I'm sick and tired of seeing them.
I'm going there in mid-December, unfortunately. So
Yeah, I watched every time I'm looking at the championship table, I'm just seeing them getting closer and closer to playoffs and top half. I'm like, please no, man, because I can't afford teams like that to come back, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's no point.
That's why I was hoping for Bristol to get promoted through the playoffs because it'd
Yeah,
be good. Would have been good to have seen a new team come up, but
yeah.
oh well, we got Sunderland instead.
Yes.
All be fun and games. But boys,
Mm,
fantastic show as always.
yes.
Always good talking about things that are a little bit out of the ordinary for a usual YouTube football conversation. So yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic stuff.
thank
Amazing
you, man.
fun. Yeah.
Anybody want to promote anything at all?
Uh,
You've got a little show coming up soon, John.
Oh yeah, I mean, completely different feel. But if you're into sort of like spoken word poetry, comedy, music, testing.ground.performance on Instagram, yeah, give us a shout, give us a message, and let us know.
Quality stuff, quality stuff. Samir, anything from you?
no, not yet, not yet. I'll possibly have something next week. Just let me
Okay,
know. Yeah.
cool.
Sorry, probably should have said first Wednesday of every month in Mile End in East London. So obviously, depending on where you are geographically. But
Yeah.
There you go.
sorry,
Sorry,
probably
can't make
worth pointing out.
Sorry, I'm in Norwich. I can't make it.
Yes,
You never know. You might get some people who just travel down, mate. They might have like
that's true.
they might have liked you talking about football and thought, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Do you
have
know
a
we
little
do we
road trip.
do we've got a Leeds fan who's a regular, which is quite actually a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
giggles, but
There you go. Big up, Junior One Adam, who's joined us this
thank
evening.
you.
Always good to have people in the chat. Also, big up Preach, who was in earlier as well. So yeah, it's
100%.
always good to have interaction with the chat. It makes it run a bit smoother, and it's a lot more intriguing having other people to bounce off as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for being here. For me, it's just the usual Wednesday night, either 9 or 10 p.m, depending on what people are doing. Spurs Kings TV, the rival show. Catch me there. Also, check out Toon Tactics TV, 9 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays. I join him every now and again, but he also puts out great content. So go and check that out as well.
Amazing.
But for now, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next Sunday.
Cheers, boys. Good to see you.